Professor Aung Tun Thet, thank you very much for coming this morning, giving us your precious time to be on our program. It's an honor. So first of all, could I ask you to introduce yourself to us?
I'm Aung Tun Thet. I'm a member of the Independent Commission of Enquiry on Rakhine.
So the main question I would like to ask you is about your role in the Independent Commission of Enquiry. Perhaps you can elaborate on that.
I think what is important for the audience to understand, the four words itself, each of them has meaning, each of them has certain connotations. And I think the most important is the I, which is independent. So as you know, since August 25th of 2017, because of the incidents in northern Rakhine, because of the atrocities, alleged allegations of human rights abuses, the chair of ICOE is Ambassador Manalo. She's from Philippines, a very distinguished human rights lawyer. So she's still working for the rights of the woman. And she's supported by the vice chair, which is Ambassador Oshima. He's also a very distinguished Japanese diplomat. He's the Undersecretary General working in the UN, and also the permanent representative to the UN itself. And then we have two national members, Unyate, who used to be the head of the Constitutional Court. So he, again, a very distinguished legal expert, and myself. So we have four members, two international and two local or nationals. So the task of ICOE from the very beginning was twofold: to look at the issues surrounding the so-called allegations that stem from August 25th incidents, and then to identify accountabilities. But more importantly, it's not just the accountability itself, but also how can the commission, our commission, give recommendations for sustainable peace and development in Rakhine. So I think we need to frame the ICOE within the larger context, because the international community has, as you know, have established independent fact-finding missions. The Human Rights Commission, the Human Rights Watch also have done many investigations. So the added value of our commission, ICOE, from the very outset, we want to ensure that whatever we do is evidence-based. It is based on facts. As soon as ICOE was established, we had a call for submissions. So anyone who is aware of so-called abuses could be able to let us know exactly what happened, when it happened, and what is the crime, etc. So through this, we've been doing investigations. So we have set up what is called the Evidence Collection and Verification Team, ECVT, which is made up of professionals, and therefore we have been collecting, and we are still collecting evidence. Now, one of the advantages of ICOE is because it is based in Myanmar, we have access to the Tamador. So we have met the Commander-in-Chief, we have met the Vice Commander-in-Chief, we have met the senior officials at the Tamador. We've explained to them the needs of the ICOE. We have asked for evidence, we have asked for photographic evidence, we have asked for video evidence. So whatever evidence the Tamador has, we've also met the Chief of Police, we have also met the Minister of Home Affairs, who is in charge of the police establishment. So the question is, we do now have a huge body of evidence, which we call secondary information. But we are also collecting primary data. So we have sent our teams to northern Rakhine. We've met people in the villages, all that are affected, the Rakhine ethnic people, the Bengalis, the Muslims. We have collected, and recently ICOE, we were in Dhaka to discuss with the Bangladeshi government the possibility of us sending the ECVT, the Evidence Collection Verification Team, to Cox's Bazar.
ICOE has been established for more than a year. So within that year, what has been your biggest challenge?
I think the expectations. The expectations vary from where you are sitting. The international community from the very outset claimed that ICOE is not an independent. So from the very beginning, we've been seen as just being an official mouthpiece. So that's the kind of challenge we have. At the same time, there would be concerns internally of what we will find. So there's always the tension, and I think what we call the creative tension between what the international community expects and what the local communities, the national community. But we've been made very clear we will adopt the best practices of other investigation commissions that was established all over the world.
Would you be able to say at this point as to what your greatest achievement working on ICOE?
The greatest achievement, I think, to me, which is distinct from other investigations, we have access to the terminal, we have access to the police and security forces. So this is an asset, because this is something that other commissions, for obvious reasons, do not have access to. But it's not enough to have access. We really have to ensure that the information that is provided to us is credible.
So is there a timeline to show all of that? Like, for example, is there going to be a press conference to establish all your findings?
Yes. In fact, our initial mandate was 1 year, which completed in August. So we had requested for extension, and we should be finishing, although we're trying to make sure that we should finish by the end of this year. We'll still need to visit Cox's Bazar. I've been there now 3 times, but we need to send the ICVT, our investigation team, to collect evidence in Cox's Bazar to meet the people who had who stayed in Mount Dor.
Is that challenging? Because is it impossible for you to do that?
I don't think it's challenging. The question is, because of the, as you know, recently, August 25th, 2019, it's a second year, since the incident. So there's a bit of tension within the camps, and we heard that the security issues are of concern in the camps, and therefore we had seek advice from the Bangladeshi government, what will be the most appropriate time for us to, we're ready to go anytime. We've already prepared ourselves. We know the questions.
They know that the time of this commission is going to run out of time by the end of the year. So is that a problem? If, for example, you cannot visit Cox's Bazar before this time is up, you may need another extension, won't you?
No. What we thought was so far the evidence we've collected would be sufficient for us to prepare. The reason why we wanted to visit Cox's Bazar is to have, what is happening out there.
Is there any teaser you can give our audience with regard to what is going to be in the book, in the report? Because
it's rather premature.
Yes.
The only thing we can say is that we have evidence which, for reasons that I've explained to you, which other commissions, other investigators have not found, because we are based here in our country and we have access to full information.
Do you think narratives and opinions are one-sided?
This is a challenge. So I do hope through these series of interviews we can have an alternative narrative, because so far the narrative is one-sided. So I think the challenge, and I really welcome this dialogue with you, the conversation, because I think it's important for the audience, especially the external audience, to understand that.
I would like to say that we're looking forward to the report of ICOE.
I'm looking forward to Beyond ICOE, so that once the report is published, the international community would be, to some extent, I will not say 100%, to be assured that we have done our very best, that we have tried to be very balanced, we have tried to be very fair, we have tried to be very consistent.
Professor Aung Tun Thet, thank you very much for your time, for your patience in coming onto this interview. Thank you.
Thank you too.